You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to do a show tonight. I was going to wait till tomorrow. I was just so tired. It is now Tuesday, officially. Been Tuesday for like 3 hours. January 26, 2016. Yeah, I was just really busy. I was up since 7 a.m. on Monday and trying to make calls and calling doctors in my union office where I work, and was hoping to get a call back, which I didn't get any calls back. I had to initiate and push things forward in order to get things completed. Excuse me. So I haven't done a show in a couple days, surprisingly. I was looking, the show I did the other day, it said, I think it was like 11 people the one day, and then like 7 the next, or the day before was 7, and it was 11. And plus, it was funny, I actually marathoned that show for the first season of Glee, and, you know, there was a lot I did not see the first time, I just kind of forgot about, because I was just trying to catch it when it was on TV. And, yeah, I actually had completed the first season, believe it or not, in like less than 4 days. I completed a whole season of Glee, and then I started the second season. But this was in addition to spending from 7 in the morning until like almost 12:30, 1 o'clock on the phone, trying to get doctors located again from Philly, union office, doing what I need to do to get my job back, and nobody responded back. So that was kind of a disappointment. Get my glasses right now. Obviously, no one really seems to care, and that's pretty sad. You know, if you're making an effort to do what you need to do, and people just kind of blow you off, that's not very nice. But hey, I'm used to it by now, I guess. I've taken up with it pretty much all of my life with people. You can't depend on anybody except yourself, and that is actually absolutely true. Yeah, real quick, I didn't want to go into large detail again about Glee. It is a really good show. I'm telling you, I actually recommend it. I was like a big influence. I think that's what gave me my second wind on life almost, because there was a lot of good things on that show that I totally forgot about. I'm actually on the second season when they had just introduced the last episode, when they introduced Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, honestly, I really like Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she's like an incredible actress. I could care less about her personal life because she's just a mess in her personal life. But as an actress, she's probably, somebody that, you take for granted as being a really good actress. And a lot of these actors, they do their craft really well, like being actors, but, I would not like to listen or think about their personal life. It would just really depress me. And she's one of them. There are certain characters on that show I kind of rewatched and I forgot about that I didn't like. Like one was this guy, Kurt. He's the guy who's the homosexual on the show, the gay guy, young kid. And it was funny because the first season with him was just like it was annoying to watch him, but then they kind of molded his character in a different way where, he matured a lot, was a lot less irritated by season 2. And the actor is actually an incredible actor. The one I was disappointed in the direction, they brought her back on another show was Leah Michaels, because Leah Michaels is like an incredible actress, and I love her. It's kind of like depressing because, she's on Scream Queens. They brought her back. They should have brought some other actors off those other shows, because I think they have a lot to offer. I don't know why they just brought her back. I'm glad they did. I just don't like the way they brought her back, because she's really talented. And it was like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like trying to lay down, trying to go to bed. I was like, okay, it's too early for me. I was really tired. I needed like 2 hours just to rest before I do anything else. I actually did my tax return tonight too. Finished everything, my state, my federal, and my local. And I submitted all online, and I used TurboTax, and my state and my federal already went through, saying that it got accepted. So it's just a matter of getting to cut the check now, because I got a tax return. Not much. I got actually half of what I got last year. But I'll take what I can get. I was happy. And, I don't think we use it anymore. You can still use something called Berkheimer for Pennsylvania. That's our local. And they keep all their stuff on record. Once you get your W-2 form, which came today, it just makes it really quick. And I have to really give a strong plug for TurboTax, because I only use the W-2 form. I don't have anything spectacular. I don't own a business. My one friend does. I don't have a lot of burdens. I have nothing really to claim. I really wouldn't be able to write anything off. There's nothing to write off for me. So I just run straight through on the W-2 form. I'm using TurboTax for the last 7 years. And it just makes it easy, because this year they actually, once you plug in your number for work, the number they give you, that basically it's like your ID for your job, which is, everything's already put through to the government anyway. Everything fell into place. Once you put that number in, it just went down. You double check the paperwork that TurboTax filled out in less than a millisecond, and I checked it out. It looked fine, and it was cool. So, and another thing they actually had this year, I'm going to see if I can find that from TurboTax, which at first it was okay, I'm just wasting kind of money. It was an extra $50 that they check to make sure, because, I know particularly this year I'm very scared of this happening. It happened to a friend of identity theft. Normally I don't make a big deal of it. Hey, this year in November, you're going to have your elections going on. And I think people, you're going to get more corrupted people trying to steal identities. They're going to be afraid they might be losing something, in my opinion. So, and hey, a friend's brother got his identity stolen practically. Somebody, made a, what do you call it? A duplicate card from one of those skimmers of his bank account, made a card out of it, and was, charging stuff from the GameStop and Wawa, toys and junk food from somebody else's, personal account. So that kind of stuck in my mind, and now they have this thing on TurboTax. It's $50, and it's an ID identifier. And they basically said, okay, hey, we were going to do, if you get this service that TurboTax was offering, I thought it was strictly for one thing. I didn't realize how in depth they go, and it was actually really impressive. So I recommend it. It's called ID Notify for TurboTax customers. And it includes other things, protection on, if the IRS decides to randomly pull your name out of a hat. That's all included. But the meat of this service you buy does a really in-depth background check on all your information. I'll get these emails, these solicited emails I don't even ask for, saying, oh, yeah, your identity has just been breached, and you need to sign up for our service. And it's just a way to grab money out of your pocket, because it's a scam. But this one was from TurboTax, And they said, okay, we include other stuff with this, but you give us your license, your social security number, we'll do a check, and if anything happens, you're fully covered. If we find that somebody's using your identity to fill out a tax form and try to collect money off your identity, we'll let you know, and we'll take care of everything. It was like, wow, that's pretty cool. For $50, I'm losing a little bit out of my my tax return. I spend like $150, I think, $160. Part of that was for the TurboTax service. The other part was to, do all the paperwork, have it double checked through, the service of TurboTax. They do all the checking for your state, your federal, and then the Berkheimer or my local I did myself, and I had that submitted and it went through. Not through TurboTax. But this extra service was an extra $50-$60, so it added up. It would have been $100 if I didn't get that. So not too long afterwards, they started checking my background, and then they said everything cleared out. We checked your cards, we checked your whatever type of accounts you have. I mean, they do, like, literally, I'm not even joking, they do a fine-tooth comb, and they're still doing it as I probably speak. If they find anything, they're going to let me know, and you're 100% covered under any type of fraud. I'm looking at it now, under any fraudulent charges that may come up. And it's like, you know what? This year I'm like really panicking because I just don't trust what may happen this year, considering how they're just trying to take down, Trump, make him look so bad. They're trying everything in their power to make him look like he's a monster. And it's like, they're not going to stop. Destroying his, repertoire or reputation. And they're also, obviously, we're doing it with as much as they can. They were doing it, well, one was Sarah Palin because she's supporting Trump now. And, God, they love to jump over her and make her seem like a total idiot. But if you hear her speak, she's not stupid. Saturday Night Live had a field day with her on last Saturday. And I'm trying to think, Ted Cruz, hey, they can't stop until they completely destroy a person. I have something to say about that, too. That's been happening to me lately. I've just finally realized. I kind of knew for a while. But anyway, got my taxes done. I'm going to finish that out. Marathoning. Maybe I'll even watch an episode or two before I go to bed. Because since I kind of rested it, I got my main stuff done. Isn't that funny? Yeah, but there was. I was actually almost a little bit depressed this year. I was like thinking, last year for my birthday at this, in 2 weeks from now, when my birthday is, I'll be 49. I actually went to New York to go see the Elephant Man. It was like, because I'm watching Glee. It was like, I would probably pay an exorbitant amount of money if I knew, like, even Leah Michael was up in New York working on some, production on Broadway. I'd give my rib just to see her because I love her that much. I think she's just that good of an actress. I forgot because it was like back in 2011. I guess I figured that out. So that was 3 years of watching Glee at that point that I saw, the whole cast, the main people down in Philadelphia, down at, I guess it's Wells Fargo now. I think it was something else at that time. I think it was called the Wachovia Center back then. And just watching the show again just remind me of how much energy that show had, and how much, it just influenced me a lot on entertainment, because that's always been my passion is entertainment, the field of entertainment, in any way, the sense of the word. I'm trying to figure out which order I want to go in, because honestly, I was going to wait until tomorrow afternoon, or I should say Tuesday afternoon to do a show. Like, I'm going to sleep up tonight, and I got a second wind after laying down for like 2 hours, not even. I was pushing myself. I've actually even decided I'm going to take my advice from my one friend, who we were talking about, what am I going to do for my birthday? And he suggested, well, maybe you should go down, if you go down during your birthday, go down a day or so ahead of time, or a day after your birthday, and I wanted to do, and I got a second wind on that too. I was going to wait for a friend, and I figured, you know what, if I want to do something, I got to strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. That's not even a good, and now, what do you call that? But to go down to Red Bank by myself, I had planned this a while back, and I think I'm going to go back to that initial idea. Now I've got a little bit of money back from my tax return, pay off my bills, use a little bit of that money to get a hotel room down in Red Bank, and my gut feelings tell me I should go down like a Saturday, talk to them on a Saturday or Sunday, and say, listen, hey, whoever's in the store, they closed early on Sunday. Hey, would you guys mind? Maybe after you guys are closed, I can stop by. And when there's nobody in the store, wouldn't mind just kind of drilling you on some information on, the development of your comic book store and how your relationship with Kevin Smith and the world of You Ask You. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I do it after store hours for like a little bit. That's not going to take away from their business and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to go back in that direction. I think, my gut feeling, my heart's telling me that's what you should do. And that way I'm not wasting if something happens. Now, today I mentioned I made a lot of calls. Most of them is me having to push. I called this place called Jefferson Hospital. I said, hey, listen, my place of employment's forcing me. They're trying to incriminate me, basically, is the way I feel. But I'll play the game by making me take this, it's called a psychological evaluation. And I had called Jefferson Hospital. They said, you have to go down to Philly. You got to go to the main Jefferson location, a hospital location. And that's down in Center City, Philadelphia, at 9 a.m. in the morning. But they can't take me any sooner than like June 9th, which is a Thursday in June. And it's only January. And I was like, listen. So I called back my job, and I said, listen, I am really trying. I'm trying so hard. I've done everything I need to do. I've been calling doctors since October. I'm doing everything you're trying to do. I honestly, I know they're trying to get me to resign because they legally can't fire me at my job. Not without me going to a lawyer. So, my father said I should just try to settle for a couple $1 million settlement, and if they're going to play this game. And it's like, I'll play their game. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to budge. And right now I don't have anything else to fall back on, so I have to continue to do whatever they are. And it actually brought them, I'll mention that in a minute too, that this happened to me at Cabrini College years ago, where they try to incriminate me, make me look bad. And this also falls into what I found out, or have been kind of waking up, realizing what's happened to me, even with my podcast, I think. But because somebody's actually trying to take down my YouTube page slowly, chip by chip, by getting me in trouble. And one was just like a ridiculous red flag that, you're really grasping at straws, like literally at straws. But before I get into any of that stuff, the one place won't take me until June. It was like, okay, well, I'll be out of work for almost a year then, I guess. I'll get paid and get benefits, I hope. I'm not asking. I want this. Again, it's every liberal millennial's dream. I said this the other day, and I really believe that. But hey, you're giving me time to do what I really enjoy doing. I might even look into if they need anything, if I could just be a grip or something on any local film, and I'll say, hey, listen, I have time to do it right now. Just get my foot, in the door on some type of local film projects or, something else. Anyway, my parents had to get up to this morning, and I said, listen, our snow was so bad around here. I heard the plows running tonight, actually, earlier. The widen the roads. The roads are so narrow. It's like literally you're in a toboggan slide. There's barely enough room for a car to pass in either direction. And I know my one friend, his business depends on him being in a car, and he said some of the roads are, and I knew what he was talking about, were like, basically, in my words, they're very narrow. You can barely get through some of these roadways. You're without scraping your car. I actually got some errands done, like got my hair cut, and this hairdresser said, "Yeah, I live in Norristown." This woman who cut my hair, and she said I like tore off my bumper because I could barely get out of Norristown. They didn't plow the roads. She had a regular car. I have an SUV. And she said that, the cars aren't made as well. It's like, yeah, I agree. But she said that the roads weren't plowed right or not at all. So I'm fortunate I have a car like that that's higher off the ground, having an SUV. But she, tore her car apart a little bit. She was upset. She said, my boyfriend, he works and he can fix the work. But he says, it's obviously from the weather. And that snow's packed now. It's like ice. Solid ice, snow that's iced over, and it's rock solid walls, and you have no room barely to drive through. So another day, our snow was so deep, and one man died. He died from trying to shovel this thick snow. That my dad paid somebody to shovel our driveway. The guy came with a plow and a couple men, and they plowed it in 3 minutes, and they charged $40. I told my dad, I told my parents, I don't care what you pay, let me know. I'll contribute because, hey, I live under your roof. I'll give you some money towards this. So I gave him $20. So it cut his costs back from 40 to 20. And it was like, I'd rather pay you money than see you have a heart attack, my father. I didn't say that to him. I'm saying that to whoever listens to me. So, and it was pretty bad today. It wasn't as bad, but I gave my parents my car. I said, listen, the way they plowed our driveway, there was no room for them to get out. I was I'm very OCD about having people touch my personal belongings, and my car is definitely one of them because I, got this car 2 years ago now. And it was I'm just in the back of my mind, I'm picturing them slopping on my car, screwing it up or getting in a car accident because it handles really well. It's all-wheel drive. It's an SUV. But I was afraid they didn't do anything wrong with the car. But that's just me. I'm very anal about certain things, my belongings. So anyway, my mom had a doctor's appointment. I say, listen, the road's got, my mother said, all about this black ice. I said, well, you can't get your cars out. You take my car. Go to your doctor's appointment. Take my car. I'd rather have you have something that's safer on the roads. He realized now, my father, because he just bought a new car, not last year, brand new, no miles, and it was a regular car. And he was at first going to buy a pre-owned, certified SUV. I think it was, he calls it a Rave. I don't know who makes it, but he calls it a Rave. I don't know what it's really called. And he would have been really happy with that. I mean, yeah, it's only once or twice a year, a couple times a year, you really have to worry about the weather. And I told my one friend, you know what? A decent SUV is good all year round, because if it's not the snow, it's the rain, or these not monsoons, these hurricane weathers. They're good all year round, an SUV. And I can, not trying to just convince myself. I had convinced myself. I remember times that there was rivers going down the streets from the heavy downpour. And it was great that I had an SUV because I knew I wouldn't flood out my engine because I'm higher up. Now, you got to be careful. You can flood it out, but it's a lot harder. With this kind of snow, you get that extra traction when you need it. And, your gas mileage isn't that great. It's not that bad. I actually, my car, I get lowest is 22, highest has been almost 27, 28 for an SUV. So that's not bad at all, and it's turbocharged. So I got a good deal. When I got my car, I was able to talk him down with my trade-in. I got basically a $27,000, $28,000 car for $12,000. And that actually included extended warranties. If I didn't go for all the extended warranty, crap, which I never use because it's like physically impossible from where I bought the car. I'd have to go back to that dealership. I would have gotten a, $28,000 car for $9,000. So it was like a no-brainer. I just kind of screwed myself out of, $3,000 that I didn't really need to spend. It was just a total waste of money. But I learned my lesson, kind of. It's water under the dam, no puns intended. So anyway, my parents went to their thing, and it was like I called them. I was basically really worried about my car, too. I'll admit to that. And I said, hey, if you're at the family doctor, can you ask our family doctor, does he know anyone who can suggest where I can get this psychological testing done? And my dad asked right away. He was in the office with the doctor and my mother. And the doctor said, yeah, I know some guy. He's really good. He can give the test. And he's in Norristown. So I called Norristown today. They said, well, the doctor is so booked up in Norristown, and that's not his main office who gives this test. This receptionist said, well, you're going to have to wait until April. And it was like, well, April's better than June, so I'll do that. But she said, I'll give you this other number for his main office, which is in Bryn Mawr. It's like, well, I went to Cabrini College. I know where Bryn Mawr is. It's right down the street from Bryn Mawr. Literally, it's like right down the street. I said, I know Bryn Mawr like the back of my hand. I can find this place. It'd be no problem. So they said, well, I gave my information. I said my place of work said they were going to pay for it. So I had to track down the phone numbers for my job. I had to track down the numbers of, we call it health services, who has putting the thumb screws on me numerous times that I need to get all the psychological testing done so they can determine if they're going to accept me back at my place of work. In the meantime, I'm getting full benefits, full paycheck, as though I'm still there, like I've not lost a day of work. That was the agreement they came up with. So I haven't heard back. I gave them the phone number that was needed to be who needed to be contacted in order to get this ball rolling on this test. I kept my appointment for in June, if it doesn't pan out, to get the test done down in Philadelphia. I'm already planning, like, okay, when that time comes, if I have to go down to Philadelphia, it's already around a comic book convention probably anyway. Either way I would do it. I'll just rent a room a couple days ahead of time if it's around the WizardCon down in Philly, because there's no way I'm going to drive from King of Prussia down to Philadelphia. It's not that far, but the traffic is horrendous. I've done this before. I had taken a workshop on television a couple years ago down at a PBS station, and I basically rented a hotel room for a couple days, stayed there. That way, the only thing I had to worry about is going from Philadelphia to Philadelphia instead of from Norristown, King of Prussia to Philadelphia. And that makes a big difference. You're avoiding a lot of traffic, and it's at 9 o'clock in the morning for this test if I have to wait that long until I can set this or have this appointment down in Philadelphia at Jefferson Hospital. Now, the test takes 6 hours. It's a psych eval test. It's a 6-hour test. Very intense. Takes all day. So it's not cheap. When I talked to this woman in Bryn Mawr for my backup plan for getting this test done for my job, she said, your insurance, I'll tell you right now, is most likely not going to cover this psychological test you need to get done. And she said right away, the reason they're not going to cover it is because it costs anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500. It's 6 hours. What do you expect? And I'm like thinking to myself, well, if you go to an emergency center, you spend, I've gone to the emergency center for injuries, and believe it or not, it's cost me a year's wages on the costs that insurance had to suck up. One time it literally, I think I had, it's a test to make sure you don't have any clogged arteries, where they put the tube. They start it from your leg because you got your biggest artery runs down to your leg, around your thigh area. I can't remember the name of the test. A catheter test. I had a catheter test done, or catheterization. No, something like that. And it actually wasn't that painful. I didn't feel anything. It is in the catheter because that means they would have put it up my penis. It wasn't that. But it was actually, they put the tube, though, up from your artery in your leg to your heart, all the way up to your heart. Did not feel a thing. I had no pain. Test cost $23,000, I think. It was something ridiculous. I'm not even kidding. It was like 23,000 grand. I was like, okay, insurance covered everything, I think, except a couple $100, which I paid out of pocket. And it was like, okay, but they covered most of it. So $2,300, $2,500 sounds like an awful lot. No, it's not. Insurance, if they cover it, insurance is the one thing you need to have nowadays, obviously, because it's forced down your throat. But private insurance is not as good anymore. It's more expensive, but it used to be, like, really good. So, anyway, I set up for both those tests. My dad helped me out. He talked to the doctor, gave me the number, checked into that. So I either have an appointment possibly in April, definitely in June, no ifs, ands, or buts, and potentially even sooner than that. So that made me really happy. So I got that all straightened out, but that had taken all day. And, you know, I gave my parents the benefit they can use my car. I was being a prick tonight. I made my father drive when the thing's ice over again and let him take his new car out. I was like, you know what? I probably won't do that again. I'm going to let them know that if you need to use my car and the world's are, you know, it's, you know, under your discretion, you can take my car. I'd rather have them take my car than him getting killed in a car that's not safe. You know, hey, this is the only time of year he's going to really need to use it anyway. So, but yeah, I made a lot of calls today. Like I said, 5 hours worth of calls, got that straightened out. In the meantime, it was funny. Today was just like, I needed some of me time. Got some stupid stuff. Like, there's one iced tea around here. There's this farm that makes homemade sweetened iced tea at this farm called Mary Mead. And it's the only stuff that's not giving me acid reflux. And that's another flux. That's another thing I realized. I got to watch what I eat. I know even more so now I got to watch because certain foods you got to stay, and that's true for anybody. You got to stay away from fatty foods, lots of carbs. You got to stay away from, and other types of junk food because, trust me, you're doing yourself a favor for doing for very good reasons, for health reasons. But if I even smell stuff that's in those categories, I start getting really, really bad acid flux, and it's painful. It's extremely painful. But yeah, for some reason, one thing that doesn't bother me, which is the worst thing for you, I know, this farm, they make iced tea, sweetened iced tea with real sugar. Now, the real sugar, your body knows what to do with. That not NutraSweet. The glucose corn syrup, your body doesn't know what to do with it. It just stores it automatically becomes fat. And, you know, fat's not good because that clogs arteries, puts on weight. It's just not healthy, puts you out of breath. So it literally gives me really bad acid reflux. I can't stand that. So it has to be natural sugar. Breads, starches like that, I got to stay away from. It's funny, my parents tonight wanted to go to the Panera Bread around our house. We have one of those. They're all over the place. And honestly, you know, I fell off the wagon, so to speak. And what did I do? I had a grilled cheese, half a grilled cheese, and a tomato soup. Well, tomatoes soup is high, like, acid because it's tomatoes. That causes acid reflux for me, and it makes you sick. If you know, even a small bowl, a really small bowl. And I asked them, listen, I don't want any extra bread. You know, they asked me, want bread or an apple? I said, I want the apple. I can't eat all the bread because that gives you too much bread is not good for you. Gives me acid reflux. So what do? They don't give me an apple. They give me bread. It was like, screw it, I'll eat the bread. And I've been paying for it all night with the acid reflux. But anyway, that's a different story. It's had to fill, you know, a little bit of time. I've been off for a couple of days. Got to shoot the breeze on my show. So anyway, I was doing some research. I talked to my one friend today. One of two friends. The one never even picked up the phone. He was off. He's on vacation all week. The one I was actually originally was supposed to go to Red Bank, and he totally blew me off. It's like, dude, you're going to be on the road for like 3 hours to go and drive to your parents. You generally call then. You just ignore every phone call, every email, every text. You like, and this particular person's losing his job. It's like, I'm trying to reach out to you. You just totally blow me off because, you want to spend the weekend with your parents. Or week with your parents. You're going to have some time that you could have talked to me, but you just kind of blew off every opportunity I gave you. So, in a kind way to that friend, go fuck yourself. And that's why I wanted to even this trip on my birthday to Red Bank by myself. I'm not going to wait for him because you can't depend on him. But I did get a hold of the other friend, so I thank my other friend. Not going to mention any names. Not important for anybody to know, except for the friends who listen in. And we had a good long talk, and I said to him, I'm trying not to slip because I'm really famous for the Freudian slips. Like I'll say, I should mention this, or I should mention that. I should mention this name. I shouldn't mention that name. And I do. And it truly is just because I lose, my mouth moves faster than my brain. Literally, obviously. So I told the one friend, I'm going to go into that now, that it's been weird. I got another red flag today. Lo and behold, I'm talking about it on my podcast on Spreaker, and I got another red flag that said, "Oh yeah, you got a warning again of using copyrighted material on YouTube." And it's like, these videos are over 5 years old. Some of these 5, 6 years old. They're not brand new. One of them that got flagged was me walking in a park with my cell phone or my iPad just to see how good the quality was. And I went to one of those, get the music for free. It was like new age music that was put up on a website for absolutely free for you to use because these artists want to get their music out there. It was just simple music that was free, and I got flagged. Somebody said this was copyrighted material, the music, and it was like I got it from a free one of these sources. You can look them up. They were basically like, as a friend suggested to me a while back, free libraries where artists are just trying to get their name out there, and they put their music up there, and it's basically on a free service. You don't pay anything. You download the music. It's background music. It's not the greatest, trust me. It's not good at all. You got to dig for something that sounds remotely interesting. And I dug through there. I found something that was like, you know what? I like this, and I won't get in trouble for it. Yet I got flagged from YouTube. And it's because somebody who I came to the conclusion, my friend doesn't agree with me. I think that I'm on the right thing. All my, pointing out my opinion on the feminazis, because I will use that word, and these wacko lefties. Hey, this stuff not only goes on Spreaker, it also goes on other public domains. Somebody keeps on flagging my stuff until they can chip away and get me in enough trouble, which YouTube hasn't made a huff about any of this stuff so far. They just basically gave me barely a slap on the wrist. They said, don't worry about it. If it comes any further, we're just going to put commercials on the back to pay for your, to advertise, to pay for the music you're using. And this music was free music. There's nobody who's going to get the money because the music was free. And some of this music was like from the 80s, which was like one-hit wonders that I used for a couple seconds for parodies I did. So they're, obviously after I'm mentioning this now and this goes up on air, I guarantee you, I'm going to get flagged again. Now, I just told a friend, the music I put in the beginning of my show, my intro, I paid for the service on Spreaker. They have like these these outside companies. I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to look for it now. I didn't want to lose. It's called, you go under Spreaker, you go under store and build your own, promote your podcast or network. No, that's not it. I actually did that one too. I did everything just to get this all, You basically make your own label, your own intro for your show. And these are people, you pay them, and they're from England. I'm trying to look. They keep on trying to get me to buy the more expensive service. Okay, establish your own audio brand. That's the one I'm looking for. It's called musicradiocreative.com. I spend almost $300 or $400 for material that I said, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. They looked at it. They put it together for me. And I said, hey, gave them the thumbs up. Thank you guys for the great thing. So here we go. I'm giving a plug now. If you go to musicradiocreative.com, you're paying for their service. And again, they do this in England. They put an American accent on. I have no problem with that. They do a great job with it. And they set this up for me. And I paid $400. I own it for the rest of my life. So that thing you hear at the beginning of the show, I paid for both of those. They're licensed. They are copyrighted to Walter Interante, not anybody else. That's all original material. Anything that it was put on there is what I told them. This is what I'm looking for. The dialogue, everything. I told them this is what I'm looking for. This is I wanted this kind of niche to it. And, yeah. So, that being said, they can't use that tactic. So you're trying to use a tactic. They're trying to kind of chisel away at my YouTube account because every show I do on Spreaker goes directly onto YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, who knows where else. It was like one source I did not use yet. It's another audio internet service. I didn't look into it. I had them at one point. I don't have them now. It would actually give me a lot more opportunity. Can't remember what it is, but I'm not using it. But out of my four sources, I'm sorry, I don't know how many sources I have. Looks like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, obviously, and probably a couple other ones. But, yeah, I basically, because I just want to put my name out there. I want to see if somebody, gives me a bite. But the only bites I'm getting are negative bites. They're trying to take me down now. So I counted up just recently. I had 24 videos that I have done over the years. I mean, you're talking back, I don't know, at least 12 years ago, maybe longer, since I started doing YouTube videos. One I actually did that got flagged, I totally forgot to tell my friend about, was at Madame Tussauds, where you pay to do, when they had the thing when Brandon Roth was Superman. They had the Superman theme up, and they change that all the time. Up in Madame Tussauds, you were able to do a Superman theme. I paid for that, and I got that flagged on YouTube. It was like, listen, I paid for this. Once you paid for it, they burn you a copy off, and they said, listen, you can do whatever you want to. They give you that copy for you to put on your Facebook page, your YouTube page. Somebody was such a prick, they actually flagged that and said I had copyrighted material in there. It's like, listen, I paid for this. Madame Tussauds paid for that license for that music and for that video that I purchased from them. So so I could put it on just for the fun, they give you this copy that, hey, okay, once you grab it, what do people do? They show it to their friends. They put it on YouTube. They put it on back then it was probably MySpace when I first freaking got it, or on my Facebook page now, or MySpace back then, and, Facebook. But they wanted to make sure they can just chisel away until my account gets closed down completely on YouTube. One I've had for over 10 years, well over 10 years, and they're not stopping. They're just on a mission to just, mission, like a chaos mission, whatever, Operation Chaos, to destroy my, my face value on YouTube, like destroy my account. One I've had for years that I worked really hard to put together, especially after I got finished from college and way beforehand. I had fun with it. It was a way to keep my tools alive, my craft of wanting to get in communications, into, show business on any level. But lately, since I've done those podcasts on a daily basis, some people are just trying to destroy YouTube. They're like chiseling away. So I got 24 videos that got flagged. One was from Madame Tussauds, which they handed to me, and like they basically let you know you can do whatever you want with it. We're not going to stop you. This stuff's all taken care of. We paid for the license fee on it, so somebody flagged it anyway. So thank you for that. Now the one that was an icing on the cake, I actually called my friend about. Now was one me and my college buddy. We did this video. It's on YouTube. It was influenced from my friend, which he influenced me, on a David Lynch theme video. It got flagged for copyright material. Yeah, my friend copyrighted it. Now, I put it up. The only one who could, so I questioned him, sort of, and I know it wasn't him. So, if he listens to this, I know it wasn't him. But I said to him, I said, listen, that video, I said, you're going to be mad at me, but I also did it with, I was experimenting to see how I could rip a VHS tape, make it a digital file, and just put it up. Because I was proud of what he did. I really was. He doesn't think so, but I was proud of what he did. He offered me a part, an acting part, which I didn't say anything. He asked, an acting part in his short, 10-minute movie. And it was like, it was way after fact. It's like 20 years after fact. I figured out how to rip it off the VHS tape myself and put it up on YouTube. And I said to my friend today, I said, listen, I know you're mad that I did that, but at the same time, you're gonna find this funny. Somebody flagged that for copyright infringement on the music. There was no music. He did it's like industrial sounds. He made up all those sounds himself. They're all his sounds, but they said that I broke a copyright law because the person who made the supposed music in this video now has came to our attention saying that you used our copyrighted music on this video of my friend's industrial short film that I acted in. Now, my friend copyrighted it, but there was no music in there at all. There was not one, there was no music. There was instrumental, but that was instrumental that he made up himself. And the person who complained, it's the source said it was from Germany, and they were saying that that I stole their music or somebody's music from this particular. I'm not going to mention the name because my friend probably appreciate I don't mention the name of the video. People can figure it out if they really wanted to. Probably not that easily. But they flagged a video that all the material was from, basically the key ingredient down to the tapes, everything was all his. None of it was anybody else's except his. That was the only reason I was willing to take the risk. Because if he wanted to push it, he would have to be the one. My one friend would have to push and make the, take me to like court or say, listen, you need to take this down because I did not give you permission to do this. That would be coming out of his mouth, not somebody else's. And there was no music, and I know it was not him. He was pissed about it. Okay, he was angry about it. He wasn't, why didn't you come to me about putting this up? But he didn't make a big deal out of it because he wasn't like, whatever. I don't care. So it wasn't him who made a big deal. It was somebody else. And I think it's the same person or people who have been attacking me since I made these comments, especially political ones on my podcast that I put up every, once in a while. So I like to thank that person, but I just also want to say that whoever's doing that, you're a total idiot, because the last one really just shows you how much of a moron you are, because you tried to get me in trouble for copyrighted material that on music that on a video that had no music at all. It was industrial sounds made by my friend who made the same friend who made this particular video. And now you're telling me that I had stolen copyrighted material. I know that person. He's a friend of mine. He's been my friend for 25 years practically. And you're telling me that, like, I didn't even talk to this person. I didn't get I didn't get permission, but I didn't get permission from this person. So we're going to, this is going to be another nail in your coffin to take down your. So this is a person I've known for 20 some years. You're an idiot. And you're saying that this was copyrighted material that was, something that was licensed music. There was no licensed music. The person who did this, whoever it was, or people, you're a total moron to think you can get away with doing that. I mean, no, you're beyond a moron. You're just like there's like an empty void between the two ears, your two ears. Like there's nothing in there. There's like you thought you could take me down. Well, you're just like you're throwing. It's like mudslinging. You're throwing mud at a wall, and whatever you're hoping that this stuff's going to stick, and eventually it's going to get rid of me. Well, guess what? To the moron who decided to basically take me down with my friend's video that I acted in, that he did copyright it. He paid for the money to have that copyrighted. The only person who could have any say, and trust me, if he tell me, listen, Walter, I want you to take this down, or I will take you to court, which it wouldn't go that far. But if he told me that, I would say, listen, you know what? I've known you for this many years. I'll take it down. But now I think for him, I think he thinks this way. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but now it's just a matter of principle, because now you're talking war. Now you're going after a friend's video, saying that this was copyrighted material that that was, from some commercial company, which was from a friend from college. So that takes like somebody that's a real idiot, that they're obviously, because you know what that falls under then? That would definitely fall under being, the fact that they're trying to, in my opinion, my one friend will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't you think that would fall under being liable? That's under some law, that under some sense of that word, that's definitely liable. That's some form of slander just to take me down because they don't want to hear me talk about, give my point of view on what's going on in the world. They want to shut me up the best they can. And it's like, you know what? You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking moron. A real idiot to think you could do that with a friend's video. Once that friend comes to me and says, listen, you take this down, I'm not going to leave until you take it down. When he tells me to do that, then I'll take it down. But if you're going to try to push charges on me, one, for open source music that was one that I got off some site that was, this music is not licensed, and try to get me in trouble for copyright infringement on that, and then on a friend's video, you know what? Bring it on, asshole, because you got a lot of fighting. I think I have my suspicions who it is. And I think it might even be somebody from Facebook. My one friend speculated. He thinks it was because I badmouthed it. But hey, a lot of other people are doing it too. That I'm open. I hold open arms. I can't wait until that producer. I said it before. I'll say it again, until that producer leaves. In 2010, he's stepping down from Doctor Who. And I read some other people's comments, and they kind of were on the same level. They don't support what I'm saying directly, but indirectly they're supporting what I said. Like, yeah, we can't wait till he leaves. Because the guy is a total, he's destroyed the show for so many years, that this producer, and my one friend said this might be, you talking against this producer, which he's got no backbone. I mean, the guy did a pretty good job for the most part, but he literally has no backbone. Stephen Moffat, and he's just changed the whole show into a feminist gay show. And the sad thing about that was the original producer was a gay man who kind of went a different direction. He didn't want to incorporate that, hey, I want to make this whole show about gay and feminism, he did almost the complete opposite. And that's why, like, when I watched that first season from the first producer, when they brought Doctor Who back, you know, when they said, oh, this producer's gay, it was like, okay, and your point is? Because he was not pushing that issue down your throat like this new producer is, who's a heterosexual, who every moment of the day he needs to push down your throat that, oh, you know, we got to fight for feminism. We got to fight for equality. We got to fight for gay rights. It's like, dude, you're a pansy, a patsy, and you destroyed that show, and a lot of people were pissed off about it, trust me. So, good riddance, Stephen Moffat. I should call him Stephen Muppet. Because, you know, he had a lot of potential. He had a lot of good ideas here and there, but most of it was also surrounded by feminist activist ways, a lot of like gay corporations, men are weak, you know, buckle into women, and it's like you pissed off a lot of fucking people, dude. Sorry about that. It was a lot of cursing tonight, but I always put that thing on there. So, and the only thing I'm really upset about on that whole thing is they said that Peter Capaldi might be leaving too at the same time. He says, well, if Moffat's leaving, I'm leaving. It's like, dude, I'd love to see you stick around with the new producer because, you know, finally you get somebody who or give you a little bit, loosen the vice grips on, you know, that you need to be politically correct. You'll finally be able to, like, let yourself go because he's a good actor. Peter Capaldi did a really good job. In fact, the ratings went up with him. And I didn't know. I thought I had the thing up, but he's 57 years old. It's like, you got to be kidding. That man looks great. I mean, he's not that. He's like 10 years older than me, or less than 10 years older than me. But he's pushing almost 60, and the man looks incredible. He looks younger now than when he started show. I mean, Peter Capaldi as Doctor Who, he looked younger than when he first started. And he has brought so much. So I'm like, actually, I was upset about that. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give you a heads up. This has actually already had changed. But I was surprised. I have been on for like the last 2 days. And, okay, I had 7 people listen, 2 downloads. So I know the person who's trying to, or people are trying to take me down, are also just trying to basically, you know, as they do on Glee, throw a slushie in my face or just, you know, paint mustaches on my shows, you know, virtual mustaches, because there was 2 downloads just on the 24th, the other day when I did a show, and then I got 11 listeners, no downloads. But yeah, people are just trying everything under their power to basically, the best way I like to use, because it rolls off the tongue better for me, is how to slander me, or, you know, how to hold me accountable and defamate my character of doing these shows. It's like, this is a podcast. This is where, you know, the person with no voice has a voice. That's what I'm trying to do. So anyway, I went down, but I was at my all-time high with France, where my listener base was 4.5%. Now, I know there's only a handful of people listening to me, but 4.5% was really impressive. I'm down to 4% now because I haven't done a show in like over 3 days. Anyway, the listener base highest was Dover. It looks like Dover, Delaware, Coatesville, PA, Norristown, PA, Philadelphia, PA, Danville, PA, once again, Jersey. I thought Danville was actually in Jersey. No, it's in Pennsylvania. It's close to, I think. Telford, PA, Quakertown, PA, Pennsauken, PA, New Jersey. Pennsauken, New Jersey. Sewell, New Jersey. Sewell. And Bear, Delaware. So, hey, that's impressive. And by the way, my overall, since day one, I had hit on plays. People listen to my show over 5,000. It's almost 5,400 people who have listened to my show or shows over the past couple months. So that's impressive. But the problem is, I'm sorry, I stepped away. That also creates problems because when you become known, people want to take you down. So that was really impressive. I just, as much as this person or people are trying to take me down, it's just going to give me more reason to continue to just, shove it back in their face, bring it on even more. My original reason that I got out of bed after going to bed for the night, turn in for the night, because I had a busy day today, was because I saw this article where I was like, yeah, I really got to talk about this. I'm not going to go into grave detail. My eyes are already, literally bugging out. Man goes berserk on neighborhood, hacks her neighbor and hacks her to death with a machete. No joke. This was on January 25th. So some nutcase in New York, it says New York, so it was New York City, goes after an elderly woman with a machete and hacks her up. It was on a Dream and Demon. I don't know where he got the story, but obviously it came from New York. And names involved were all, because they're really difficult. That's why I'm saying this. They're all Latino names. I feel bad for the victim. A man known as, quote unquote, the mental guy, has been taken in custody after he hacked a neighbor to death with it says death, machete during an unprovoked attack, chopping the poor woman's hand off in the process. And it says in the meat of the story that he chopped one off and he severed partially off, not all the way, so because severed mean it was all the way off. But he got pretty deep and cut another hand off and other deep cuts with a machete. Police said the 59-year-old Carmen Torres Gonzalez was outside of an apartment in the Mott Haven houses talking to her elderly mother. So I thought that person, well, she is. No, she's not. I don't know. Talking to her elderly mother's home health care aide when a 25-year-old Angel Felez Loquez emerged from his apartment and attacked using a machete. This Volquez, or whatever how you say it, hacked at Gonzalez as she screamed in horror. This poor woman, for no reason, got attacked by this nutcase. In an attempt to defend herself from the machete's blade, the poor woman's right hand was chopped off, and her left hand was partially severed. So they did use the word severed. Sorry, I just bumped my mic. She had also suffered wounds to her throat, cheek, and shoulder. And they said it looked basically like a bloodbath. They said buckets of blood everywhere. So, bottom line, she would have probably bled. She did die, I guess, but because it did say, butchered her to death. But the loss of blood alone. Because at the very end, because I'm not going to go on all the nitty gritty detail, but it says, have you ever seen a video where someone's being hacked up by a machete? Yeah, there's that movie called Hatchet. So just watch that, and I guess because I can picture it, there was a character in there was a victim. There was a plethora of victims. Machete had more bloodshed in 3 movies, believe it or not, than all the Jason Voorhees movies combined. Trust me, because I think the body count after the second movie was over 20 or 30, and they were literally, they weren't just simple blunt force trauma hits that just killed the person instantly. No, the machete movie, the machete movies, Hatchet movies, I should say, they're done by Adam Green. The gore in those movies was so intense. The body count was so high that they were literally, by the second or third movie, they couldn't get enough body bags for the characters that got butchered up into little itty-bitty pieces, and they were pulling testicles off of trees and arm limbs and hands and fingers and eyes. I mean, it was a mess. So that's what you would picture if you want to see probably what happened with this poor woman in the story. But it says there are a lot out there online, and man, it is absolutely a brutal way to die. So this woman was literally, this poor innocent victim was butchered to death from some mental case who was nicknamed Mental Guy. So you can see that on the Dream and Demon. That's like kind of buried because that was from the other day. But yeah, that was what I was going to like. Okay, this is like what I want to, hey, that's what seems to get people listening in. I shouldn't take that route, but yeah. I got to open this one story. I keep on saying, but before I read this story, I want to look at it. It's just been like catching my eye. Whoops, I just hit my mic again. There was one from the Daily Mail. Daily Mail has become like the Inquirer of the Globe, like trashy papers. Daily Mail put something up. It says, scientists who have grown a human ear on the back of a rat says they will be able to use them in humans in 5 years. These poor experimental lab rats. I feel so bad for these poor things. And I hate to say it, but if I ever got reincarnated, the last thing I want to do is become an insect or a lab rat because your life, you've done something really bad in your prior life. Not that you would know at that point. It said scientists grew a human ear on the back of a rat in Tokyo and Kyoto University. Researchers hope that they can use it to help children with facial abnormalities. Currently, the ears are made from patients' ribs, or rib, from the patient's rib, and it takes multiple operations, which I heard is probably what I understand, extremely painful. And you don't fully heal from taking basically the material needed to form another ear because it's all cartilage on your ear, but it doesn't heal when you kind of basically take that material from another part of your body, which would be your rib. Anyway, the new technique needs just a few cells to grow and 2-inch ear in 2 months. It just seems like, to me, I don't know. It just seems like it's inhumane, and I think it's like butchery, and I don't know. I just don't know what else to say. It just seems horrible. Yeah, okay, this story really caught. I'm going to have to, actually... This is just really ridiculous. It's another probably one of these stories I'm going to get really mad about, but I'm going to read it. And I have not read it at all, but I am posting it. Daily Mail just shows you how much garbage they put up. And, another one of those, one for the feminazi team to enjoy. Teen mom, 3-star Brianna Jesus, is bruised and swollen after mommy makeover as daughter 4 asked to have her boobs done. Did you hear what I just said? She, so this woman who was a teenager, she's a teen mom. So it caught my attention. So she got ass implants and massive, huge breast implants. So that's really impressive. I just would love to know who's paying for this. So I'm going to read this. I have no clue. Now get this. I'm going to read it now. Just give you a heads up. This was from the Daily Mail, and they're gloating about this. You're talking teen mother getting big booty and big boobs. Teen mom 3-star Brianna DeJesus is so happy with the results of her mommy makeover from Dr. Michael Salcher. Now, I'm just thinking from the other day, it sticks in my mind, this one guy from Glee who got really, I guess he might be serving prison, I don't know. But the one guy from Glee got caught with a plethora of child porn on his computers and stuff, and, who was on Glee, one of the main actors. And it was like, okay, so anybody under 17 is considered a teenager for one thing, or it would be considered some type of molestation of a minor or something like that. Anybody under the age of 17. So you got this story, which I don't know where it came from, that was on the Daily Mail, that they're gloating about giving Miss Teen Mom with 4 kids, that they gave her a massive, large breast implants and ass implant. And it's like, wouldn't that be kind of considered like inappropriate? It says on January 17th, the recovery, well, she's 21. They call her teen mom. 21-year-old, it still is not right, allowed Dr. Miami to Snapchat her liposuction, Brazilian butt lift, and lipoplasty. The 43-year-old doctor has also given the reality star her second breast augmentation, and this is inflammation from her 37 cc to 650 cc, basically an augmentation. It says Brianna's 4-year-old daughter, Nova, with her ex-boyfriend, Devin Austin II, already wants her to follow in her mother's footsteps. And it says she goes, and I want my boobs done, the Jesus revealed in Radar Online. I'm sorry, I'm just like really pissed off now about this article. And you got these feminazis who are just attacking all the white males. It's like, why don't you be attacking people? Why don't you attack things like this? Not innocent white male who has no backbone. Anyway, it has a quote. It says, I was like, no, not now, not anytime soon, but her to be much older, and I would let her do it. Let her go for it. So she's encouraging her youngest daughter at 4 that maybe not right now, but yeah, later on, yeah, I'll definitely support you getting breast implant. A 4-year-old that when the time comes, yeah, hey, go right ahead. She's talking about this to a 4-year-old to get breast implants, and she's got it done. Large breast implants and large ass implant. But you know what? Don't look at that, because that's wrong. You're going to go to jail. You white men, you're destroying this, this world. It's you evil white men that are destroying everything. So they got pictures of her, the before and after, and trust me, it is like, she's got these big flotation devices on her chest, and her ass is like huge. It's like makes Jennifer Lopez look like she's got no ass at all. And I assume she's one of these celebrities from that show called Teen Mom. And that's just ridiculous. So I don't care, she earned the money to do this stuff. She can do whatever she wants. It's like, yeah, that's ridiculous. There's another story that's like a joke in this mix I have. And I don't know if I can find it, but some woman who she's got a plethora of tattoos. She is, no offense, she is just plain fugly. And I'm trying to keep this one story, but they were trying to push that. Oh yeah, she people were picking on her, and she made a comeback because she got her eyebrows tattooed on her face, in addition to all the tattoos, and they were calling her all like types of nasty names. It's like, well, you know what? No offense, she is really nasty looking. She's like, this woman's like really fugly, and I hate to say it, I'm like one of these people. Hey, for you people that are like busting this woman who looks really heinous for getting her. I mean, she looks like a clown. She literally looks like a clown for getting her eyebrows tattooed. It's like I would be one of the persons that would be like ripping her a new asshole for looking like a total clown. Oh, I got to open this up. It's probably another entertaining story, so it's going to go on Facebook. If I can get it to go. It was on the Norristown Times Herald, just got posted. It said, Norristown homes are latest projects for women build. Woman build. Women today are still building, being inspired by World War II icon Rosie the Riveter. While Rosie the Riveter would be rolling in her grave right now. Rosie the Riveter is a national symbol of women's build, explained Mary Ann Lynch, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity. She inspired strength and hope for and represents all the females, what females can accomplish. Well, you know what? Back in the day, I would say go for it, but now it's just another thing for the war on women, trust me. But no one knows better than Debbie Tevlin of Schwanksville, a leader for the upcoming Women Build, and her team of women workers. The group of Habitat for Humanity is working from January 25th to the 30th on restoring homes in Wayne Avenue and West Basin Street in Norristown in order to improve the community and encourage women to step out of their comfort zone. I'm not trying to shoot this down, even though, yes, I am, but I'm not going to read anymore. It's kind of a lengthy article, but come on, let's face it. It's just another thing. We have that, even where I work, women want to do the same job as a man, but guess what? When push comes to shove, I think out of a whole plant site that I work at, I could probably name 2 women that will carry their weight that a man will do. The rest of them is like, well, I'm a woman. I can't do this. This is not fair. Why am I doing the same thing as a man? And it's like, because you're the one who started this argument, not me. So when push comes to shove, they still want to be, swept off their feet. And I guarantee you that this is going to, it'll take off, but I'll be impressed if it even goes remotely anywhere, because I think eventually it's going to have to step in. No offense, that men are going to step in, the same ones that they discriminate upon, probably, the white male, who there's a lot of, men out there that they can't get jobs in construction right now, and their job depends on it because they might be, which is really rare nowadays, the breadwinner in the family, but they can't get a job, so they might be on, since Obama's taken off of this office, they might have been laid off for like the last 7 years. And, now, so why I'm mentioning this, though, these women, they say, well, we're going to take and we're going to rebuild these homes and put them back up. Well, they're going to do a lot of publicity shots, make it look like, oh, yeah, they can handle the job of a man. And I'm not shooting it down, but I guarantee you at the end of the day, a lot, like 90% of them probably are going to say, listen, this is not fair. Why don't we, this is not our job. They're getting men to help them out. This is just my opinion. They're getting men to help them out. And then they're going to say, well, you should be doing all the heavy lifting. You should be doing all this stuff. For those women who actually really do lift a finger and actually, because I've known at least 2 women where I work at that they ran circles around me, and I really put them till, even today, I put them on the highest pedestal because I look up to them because they are the ones that Rosie the Riveter would be proud of. And everybody else, men, women, and minorities, but they are few and far beyond because the rest of them, they gotta have the nice nails and the hair extensions, and make sure their makeup's right and make sure their clothes look right. I mean, it sounds really sexist, but I'm just going by what I see. I don't see anybody getting. They made this joke even on Doctor Who years ago with the doctor not having, the character not having, have you ever done a serious day of work? And they look at his hand and he's got baby smooth skin hands, the doctor, because, and he has no dirt under his nails, meaning he never did a really 1 day of serious work. And trust me, it's going to end up being the same thing. I'm sorry to say that. But hey, I'm entitled to my opinion, and it's just from past experience. I haven't seen differently. And the most important thing in a woman's life, no offense, even though they say they want independence, and God, this will really take my show off the air, is every woman I talk to is, I'm taken, I have a boyfriend, they, they find themselves, their identity from either their significant other or through a man. I don't ask them to do that. I don't have anybody else I can cling on to like that. In fact, I don't even get that opportunity to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous. It gets me really mad. So, hey, please just prove me wrong in Norristown, and hopefully this will take off. And hey, if you make make homes for low-income families and stuff, more power to you. But I just can imagine that they're gonna buckle in and say, "Well, I can't do this. I need help. This is this. I can't do this. I'm a woman." And I'm not downplaying the women I do respect a lot, because, again, I hold certain women on high pedestals. And hey, you want to take on everything, and then when you get what you want, then you bitch and complain you can't do it, and that's what always happens. So anyway, I did find a story with this woman. She literally looks like a fucking clown. I'm sorry. On the Daily Mail. I don't know where she came from. Woman who was bullied on Facebook after posting a selfie of her tattooed eyebrows hits back at trolls by saying the ink and suits her better than the natural look. You look like a clown, lady. She has this picture where she's got like her lips ballooned up, like how that stuff put in her lips. She's got these extremely long eyebrows on her face, and she's got those nails that go for like a mile. She's got tattoos all over her body, and she's got one of those hoodie, winter fur coat heads on. And she literally, I mean, I just, people are busted on her, and it's like she can't get a hint. It's like, listen, if Barnum and Bailey's was around, you would be perfect for that clown, that little clown car. You would be perfect. You fit right in. I'm not even kidding. She literally looks like a clown, and she's proud of herself. It's like, you obviously don't look mature. You look like a Fruit Loop, and you look like a fucking clown. I'm sorry. So, hey, I'll be one of the people busted on you, so I must be one of those trolls. But, hey, I'm used to picking on myself and belittling myself, so what are you going to do that's going to contribute to that fact? You're just setting yourself up. You might as well just... The woman should have really just put a what do you call it on her face? A bull, painted a bullseye on her forehead, because she literally looks like she's just, she set herself up to get attacked. This woman named Mandy Lamrini, it's an Italian name. She literally looks like she's a clown. Decided to get her eyebrows tattooed on January 19th. The Berlin-based bar worker shared a snap of her new look on Facebook. The photograph went viral and attracted hundreds of nasty comments. I mean, if you have some type of physical because I'm like watching Glee, and there's certain things I forgot about. If you're born looking a certain way that is not attractive, or there's this one woman, this one actress, she literally looks like a man. Like, she looked like a transgender. She really was not. This one character, and they call her on the show Glee, they called her Beast, because the actress obviously was in on all the inside jokes, but the point was, the woman she really looks like that. She can't help herself, and they just try to say that, listen, you can't judge a book by its cover, and just because somebody looks like a man that's a woman or unattractive does not give you the right to tear them apart. This woman here, she looked perfectly normal before. Now she looks like a fucking clown, and she's complaining about, oh, well, for you little trolls out there, she probably can't even, looking at her, she probably can't even speak proper English. She probably can't even, get past the letter A. I mean, I'm serious. And it's just an insult, because her last name ends with a vowel, which would indicate she's got to be Italian. And it's like, if you're an Italian, because she's got the olive complexion too. But you're an insult to the rest of my ethnicity. You are a real insult. You're a clown. You're a joke. I mean, seriously, find a tree, get a rope, put it around your neck, and just do yourself in, because I don't want you in my I'm sorry for saying that. That's really nasty of me. But I don't even want you affiliated with being an Italian like I am. I really don't even want to think about that, because you're a scary-looking lady. It says a woman has been targeted on cruel online troll target of cruel online troll from. Let me reread that. I apologize. It's just looking at her face. This really just makes me like want to scream, because she's scary looking. She wasn't before. A woman has been the target of cruel online trolls after posting a selfie of her newly tattooed eyebrows. And again, she's got like a German. She's got a Italian last name. She is really fucking scary. She's ugly looking too now. And I mean, that character from that book of It looks like more. I am more sexually attracted to the character in Stephen King's It than I am to this woman, because she literally looks frightfully scary. She literally looks like a monster, and she's like mad at everybody else. It's like, well, you did it to yourself. At first, I thought, let me put it this way, I thought she was like one of those ghettoed out. And I hate to say this, I'm just using a stereotype, but she looks like one of those ghettoed out like Latinos that just make themselves look like they don't know how to speak proper English, that probably are very intelligent people, but they just degrade themselves. And I had to say that because I got to bring up this story from overpassesforamerica.com. And I feel bad for this story, because here's a Latino woman. Finds out she's an illegal alien and resigns from Arizona State Police. It says hashtag 04A, hashtag news, hashtag Arizona, hashtag immigration. So this is a case I would have to actually take a second look on and say, listen, this was unfair. And I never say this. But this was an old story that just got resurfaced. It says a detective from Arizona State Police has forces from the police force had to resign following the discovery that she was living in the county or the country illegally after being brought to the U.S. from Mexico by her family at a young age, and the agency had just said on Wednesday. So this woman, she looks like she's got her shit together. That's why it really bothers me. And the more I read about it, it just got me more like depressed and angry. Because there's some cases I'd have to look the other way, and this would be one of them. You know, yes, we need to get rid of the illegals in this country and something. But this woman was actually doing something positive for our country. This is one of these cases like you're really just trying to dig for, anything to destroy this woman, which they did. The former detective, Carmen Figueroa, I apologize about that, apparently was told by her family that she was born in the USA, though she was actually born in Mexico, said the Department of Public Safety spokeswoman Bart Graves. So this woman, her status was discovered when the State Department processed her a passport application submitted by her brother, who was serving in the U.S. military. Graves said. So both of them are doing civil services, doing good things for our country, and yet they're being prosecuted, torn apart, humiliated, and probably going to be deported. And you're not like that. You got to like lay down the ground on who you're going to deport and who you're not. And that I normally never say that, but this is one case. Both her and her brother, that is not fair at all. That is not right. She's 42 years old. She had to resign on Monday, but otherwise she would have been fired, or she would have been fired. Graves said the criminal investigation continues. He said the Arizona law requires sworn police officers in the U.S. And U.S. citizens' Graves said the state police agency would have terminated her for fraud, misrepresentation for not being meeting the qualifications. So there is more to the story, but and it says she worked for now this is really scary. She's worked for the department for over 10 years. And most of the time as a Tucson-based highway patrol officer, she became a criminal investigator. So this was a really good person, this woman. I'm like looking at her, and it's like, honestly, I'd be proud to, have her, protecting me, and her brother's in the military, and now they're both like basically getting really screwed by our government. So, there's certain things you got to like literally look at the situation, which this is obviously one they did not. You can read this, by the way. It's on my Facebook page. Now, initially it says the original date was August 26, 2015, but for some reason it just surfaced recently again. Somebody must have saw it and decided to put it up. Now, that does not dismiss the rest of the illegals or people that are illegally coming to this country that are like terrorists or, basically sex offenders. That does not dismiss them. I'm just you got to like look at the whole objective before you make your case. And this woman's served as a police officer / turned herself into a detective, was a true American, in my opinion, that really just got the really shitty end of the stick. That's not right. On another note, there was a news story I found in one of the Times Herald tonight online. They found this unidentified baby in Norristown, and they basically, I guess they're going to give it a proper burial, this just infant. And it says Norristown, January 21st, the body of an unidentified infant was found in Norristown. Sewer Authority plant authorities had mentioned. In October 2015, the child was laid to rest at a cemetery in St. Patrick's Cemetery. So just recently was posted last night. Plant personnel discovered the remains on October 6th of last year, and a death investigation was conducted by the Norristown Police. The apologist at the Montgomery County Coroner's Office estimated the gestation of the baby at 19 weeks. So this poor child is finally going to be laid to rest on sacred ground. So I just posted that. That actually went up earlier tonight. Oh, that story, because I would have kind of pushed that to the appropriate spot, but since it's up on Doctor Who, I finally found that. It was kind of buried. It was posted originally on the 25th of January. Rumor Capaldi leaving after Series 10, and that's simply because it's leaving too, Stephen Moffat. And that really upsets me. BBC bosses expect Peter Capaldi to leave Doctor Who after the next series, when the writer Stephen Moffat also steps down. The 57-year-old tenure as the 12th Doctor is likely to end in 2017, when the new chief, Chris, I can't pronounce, I hate some of these people's names, I can't pronounce them, Chibnall, who created some show called Broadchurch, begins a new era in Series 11, and it's thought he will also get the choice of his own Time Lord. So I'm kind of interested. I have no clue about this new producer. I just hope he doesn't continue in the direction that Capaldi did, because Capaldi made a lot of bad decisions, and I hope they get corrected with this new producer. I really hope so. Hey, since I'm on the entertainment thing and it's popped up, childhood show I actually was after I was, could know what TV was about. But everybody knows this show back in the early 70s called HR Puffin Stuff, where they had this article on MeTV. And it said, these are the actors behind the costumes of HR Puffin Stuff. There's a Mouseketeer, a screen legend, and a few talented voices. If you're remotely at all familiar with the show HR Puff and stuff, it was like basically that was the whole thing when drugs were really popular, doing psychedelic drugs and stuff. That was basically in a nutshell what HR Puff and stuff was. It lasted 17 episodes. Actually, I was wrong. It was in 1969, so I was only like 3 years old. Still, pretty well known today. And the names they give is Billy Hayes was one person on one of the actors. Lenny Werbrib, I don't know. Joan Gerber, he was the flute. This guy Lenny, I can't pronounce his name. You can see this stuff, by the way, on my Facebook. Played this. Basically, he played Huff and stuff. Yeah, Huff and stuff. Billy Hayes actually played. Sorry about that. I just hit my mic. Billy Hayes played the Wicked Witch. Maybe I said it wrong. Joan Gerber played the flute. Walker Dedsmiston. I don't know any of these people. Dr. Blinky. Sharon Baird played Shirley Puff and Stuff. John Silver played Ludicrous Lion. Joe Campbell played this character named Kling. And Algerero Rosetto played this character named Clang. So, I don't know any of these people. I'm sorry. So, it's pretty funny. I'm trying to read this. It's even worse. Makes it worse. Okay, I'm going to stick, at least for the next second, another story because it's Supergirl, and I love Supergirl. I really do. Because the girl was on Glee, too. I never got up to that. That's why I had to watch Glee again, too, because I found that out. And anyway, they're introducing a female version of Bizarro. Trailer jaw will drop. So, since it is Supergirl, not Superman, Superman has Bizarro. So, they're doing the Supergirl version of Bizarro, which I'm sure was in the graphic novels. So far, everything they've done has been basically right out of the comics, out of the graphic novels. So, they're basically saying there will be two Supergirls. One's going to be Bizarro Supergirl. So that is really cool. It's if you want to read that story, you can find it. Of all things, it's on Supergirl TV. Supergirl.tv. You will find that article. So I'm kind of actually really psyched. I love that show. I think it's great. Oh, keep on hitting the mic. Daily Mail put up this really goofy story, but I have to put in my mix. It's entertaining, trust me. Now that's an extreme holiday home. A New Yorker built an igloo in his garden during the storm Jonas, and a list of Airbnb for $200 a night. It's got bullet points that state a boutique winter igloo popped up on Airbnb this weekend for $200 a night. The joke listing has since been taken down by the rental sharing website. The owner claimed it was handcrafted and made with natural elements. So they made a igloo kind of accommodation hotel room, out of the snow, which they put up that you could basically get a room for $200 a night. It's pretty funny. So that was on Daily Mail. My parents were telling me about this one. It was from the Times Herald, this next one. And I found it accidentally, this story. And it said, it states, exhibit at Elmwood Park, right down in Norristown, Elmwood Park Zoo, Norristown Zoo, suffers a roof collapse. It was all glass, from all the snow we had, it collapsed as it was basically a bird sanctuary with inside Elmwood Park Zoo. It says underneath of a picture, the roof of the Birds of Paradise exhibit at the Elmwood Park Zoo in Norristown collapsed after Saturday's blizzard. So there's a little story on that if you're interested. It's sad. I guess they had to relocate the birds. It says Elmwood Park Zoo Birds Paradise exhibit suffered extensive damage. It completely collapsed after the heavy snow on Saturday's blizzard. It was a steel frame and the steel mesh roof, but the whole thing literally is down now. Staff members were alerted to the damage early Sunday morning. The birds that normally populate the exhibit, sun conjures and canaries, winged parakeets, were in separate adjoining buildings and were unharmed during the collapse, thank goodness. So none of the animals, no animals were hurt during this time. They take them, they don't put them, they put them somewhere else, safer. So I guess from the snowstorm, ahead of time they had moved them out of that area, so they were safe. So that was good. Well, I'm really going to continue with the whole thing with entertainment, I guess. They had something that was on comingsoon.net, and it's a picture of every actor who had played Superman from the very first one, which I think was in the 40s. Kurt Island, and then it was George Reeves, Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, John Newton, who played, I think, actually Superboy, Gerard Christopher, who also played Superboy, Tom Welling, who actually literally only played Clark Kent, Brandon Roth, who was my favorite, and now Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill, whatever. I don't know. But that was pretty cool because, I don't know. There was something I saw in the video or I wanted to mention, and it's on Superman again, but it's on Dawn of Justice. It was a story on comicbookmovie.com. It's not in this story, but it was on another one. Zack Snyder explains why he is utilizing Doomsday in Batman vs. Superman and Dawn of Justice. There's a couple things you will learn that I didn't know about that I was kind of bad-mouthing about the movie way back when it first started making making the news. The director talks here about why he chose Doomsday as the movie's big bad and drops some very interesting details on how Lex Luthor's obsession with the metahuman connects to Wonder Woman. So I'm not sure if I want to read that. I'm just I starting to feel tired again, I guess, for one reason. Anyway, one thing they mentioned, that actually did come out of the graphic novel, because this one, Lex Luthor has not only hair, but he's got a lot of red hair. And they said somewhere in the graphic novels, maybe it was when they reinvented Lex Luthor, because I always am used to seeing him without hair. Lex Luthor does have he does have red hair. So they're incorporating from the earlier days. They stated, not in this story, but another story, that Lex Luthor did have red hair. And they're incorporating that into the movie. So everything in this movie is basically taken from, the graphic novels, the comic books. The latest trailer for Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice confirmed that the Trinity will be squaring off against Doomsday, but many fans believe the Ionic villain should have been saved for the yet-to-be-announced Man of Steel sequel. Instead, he is being used in a way of bringing together the Justice League. And the latest issue of Empire magazine, director Zack Snyder explains his decision to include Doomsday in the highly anticipated movie, which is set to be released in March. I'm still kind of like scratching my head. Do I want to read anymore? Because there's a quote that says, to go up against heroes like Batman and Superman, we wanted to introduce one of the DC universe's most iconic and powerful villains, he explains. And he is essentially an unstoppable force. He poses, being an unstoppable force, he poses a real threat to the world within the film. So I can already see where this is going. To bring everybody together to make this Justice League movie, you needed a villain that Superman alone could not defeat. That's what I'm seeing already. He clearly is not going to be an easy to take down. And while neither Snyder or Jesse Ellensberg would comment in the magazine's pages about Lex Luthor's involvement with Doomsday's creation, Snyder did drop some spoilerly hints about his fascination with the superhero community and powered individuals in general. There is one other quote. It says, you learn pretty early on that Lex is interested in the metahuman existence. Snyder explains, and there might be some relationship between that investigation and the appearance of Diana Prince. This lines up with the rumors we've heard last year about the villain performing some sort of investigation into her existence. So the plot has now very well, had thickened even more, regardless how she'll be introduced in the movie. What do you guys think about the latest details? So I know she's going to get a standalone movie, probably not for another year, but so this movie's going to come out before she even gets her own movie. It's kind of weird. Wonder Woman. American News had a really good, interesting story, sad. And it's titled, Council Removed a 4-Year-Old's Heartstone Because One Person Complained. So now I know it just takes one person to be an asshole to ruin people's lives or even their deaths. This poor mother is really upset now, too. This was on January 25th of this year. A mother was outraged after a council chief removed her deceased son's star-shaped headstone following the complaint from another family who claimed it was in keeping with the rest of the cemetery. Max Colbert Gardner was just 4 years old when he passed away after complications from his severe epilepsy. His mother, Jo Colbert, 42, saved up $4,500 to design a specially made headstone featuring a teddy bear holding a star inscribed with the tribute to her son, the Daily Mail reports, even though this was actually on American News, this story. The heartfelt memories was erratic on Max's grave to commemorate what would have been that boy's 7th birthday on May 31st. But 3 days later, the headstone was removed from Great Malvern Cemetery by the council's chief in Warwickshire. There's a quote that says, it would have been Max's 7th birthday on Sunday, and this was like a birthday present to him from me. This woman saved up this money for a headstone for her deceased child now. Colbert's Weeks was his last name was Weeks, her last name was Weeks, who has 2 other children ages 16 and 5, told BBC, I chose a star-shaped stone because I wanted something suitable for Max, something personal. And in another quote, this stone was just perfect for my poor little chap, she added. But because somebody didn't feel it was, it wasn't in line with everything else in this cemetery, one person complained, and the stone of this child, this tombstone for this child, was now removed. And they got a picture now. This poor woman has no stone for her child. No stone. For a child who can't even speak up for himself. And obviously the mother had no say in it either. That's really, really sad. It was a beautiful stone, too. So, and it must have just been recently because the child died at the age of 4. This would have been his 7th birthday. So this wasn't something that happened just, right after the child was buried. No, this just happened recently, 3 years. Let's see. Okay, I'm bad with math. 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 years after the child passed away. It's not funny. It is not funny. But serious, yeah. That just shows you people are just, there are some really slimy, ruthless people out there. So this woman, 3 years after her son passed away at the age of 4, she continued to celebrate his birthday and leave gifts on his tombstone. That's heartbroken that some, hateful, dark person just did not appreciate the tombstone that this woman, this mother, had saved up over the years to make sure her, was put it out for her child to have a proper headstone, a custom-made headstone, and somebody found it offensive or it did not fit the rest of the cemetery and had it removed. So that's beyond cruel and dark, and oh my God, I just can't read any more of that story. Anyway, since I'm on the line of people just trying to destroy people's reputation, there's another one from the Daily Mail. It just says, I can't even read it without getting angry. It says, cocky Donald Trump boasts he could shoot people in a crowded street, and his supporters would still back him up. What is that all about? It's just like, you're going to try everything. You left-winged nutballs are going to try everything to make sure you take down Donald Trump and make him look like some type of slime ball. And once, or at the same time, or, before or after, you're going to make sure you continue to do your evil, vicious things to also, the same thing to also, in any way you can do it, and even to Ted Cruz, and continue to try to say, well, Ted Cruz was not born in the U.S. He was born in outside the country. God, it was a proven fact with President Obama, and they did everything in their power to make sure that never seen the light of day. And they said that this is just a way of harassing Obama. But it was true. Now they've been doing this thing where they were trying to say, oh, well, Ted Cruz was not born in the U.S., so he can't run for president. It's like you don't have any information to support your point. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. But you're trying to make it stick. Again, it's like what they're doing with me. Let's get some shit. Let's sling it at a wall, and let's see what we can get. We can get to stick and what won't stick. It's the same thing again. Somebody was picking on this poor newscaster. It's not even funny. Because her nose was like running like a faucet while she was trying to give, in the cold weather, give her news report. This was by the way, it was on mandatory.com. And yeah, I feel bad for the woman because you know what? She didn't lose her, her giving the news. She was able to give the cast, and her nose was running like a faucet. But hey, she didn't lose her. She kept in being the reporter. She was doing her job. She did not lose her train of thought at all. So I give her credit for that, even though people are being nasty about it. Reporter delivers story flawlessly despite the stream of snot pouring out onto her mouth. It's not snot, it's water. Because the cold, the condensation in her nose, it was just like running out of her nose. Come on. In the wacky world of local news reports, there was some who those who call themselves professionals in there, and there's WTVS's Alexandra Cohen. It's live It's live TV from wherever it is. It's at Nashville News Channel 5. The woman didn't, she basically did her job, and she did not lose, her train of thought. That takes a lot of balls for her. I give her a lot of credit. One more woman I'll put on my pedestal, because she could have got embarrassed. She knows she's on live TV. It's not going to change the situation, and they're making a joke out of it. So, for those people who think it's funny, go fuck themselves. The woman did her job. Story sent probably from my friend Todd, I guess. TheSmokingGuns.com, because I don't know where else I could have gotten this. Maybe I did find it myself. I don't know. Anyway, it was from, again, SmokingGuns.com. News source. It says Buster. Cops in Iowa, 33-year-old battered husband when he declined on her request to have sex. This woman battered her husband because he wouldn't have sex with her. This is in Iowa. Again, hey, you women that are on these females, these feminazis, and these spineless men, hey, here's another story for the war on women you could kind of go after, right? It says an Iowa woman bit and scratched her husband when he declined to have sex with her, according to the cops who arrested the suspect for domestic battery. You know the charge is going to go after? It's going to go on him probably when it's all said and done, I guarantee you. As detailed in a criminal complaint, when Rachel Butterbot, 33, arrived home from work around 10 p.m. Saturday, the night her spouse was in bed inside the couple's North Liberty residence. This Butterbach, pictured at the right, because they have a picture of her, that said that she wanted to have sex, police reported. But when her husband said no, Butterbach allegedly became physical, not like Olivia Newton-John's song, and had bitten the victim. Following that confrontation, Butterbach called 911 and claimed that her husband had choked her. There we go again. Wow. There you go. War on women. Got to blame the white male. It's his fault. So she bit and attacked him, and then she tried to claim that he choked her. He was asleep. Come on. But when the police arrived, they concluded that she had attacked her spouse, who had several scratch marks on his neck and a bloody lip. So there you go. Once again, the feeble victim, female, and she got caught lying. Isn't that considered slander? Oh, wait, did I just say that out loud? Butterbach, who admitted to biting her husband, was arrested on a minor misdemeanor domestic abuse charge and booked into the county jail. She was released from custody late Sunday morning after the post $2,000 bond was, was placed. Court records show that Butterbach's rap sheet includes 2 prior assault convictions. So there you go again. Hey, if you're a minority or a woman, you're going to get away with it, and you can do it again. That old song, I did it before and I can do it again. Well, there you go. That's just proof that it's true with this one minority case. Another story from the Dreamin' Demon. Dreamin' Demon. So I got some of those nasty stories to conclude my night. Linda Swift charged with assaulting an elderly man by biting off 2 of his fingers. This was in Gainesville, Florida. Police have arrested a 52-year-old Linda Swift. Now, that wasn't too swift, Linda. Ha, ha, ha. After she allegedly attacked an 89-year-old man. I'm sure it was in self-defense because he was 89. And she bit off 2 of his fingers. Here we go again. The unprovoked attack happened Tuesday morning at a group home where Swift and the victim both lived when Swift started punching the elderly man in the head and chest. But she's the victim. You got to remember that. During the assault, Swift bit off the end of the man's index finger in the middle to the middle knuckle. and well as his ring finger to his first knuckle. Police say they also she also managed to tear a large portion of the man's flesh from his hand with her teeth. No word on the man's current conditions or what may have prompted the attack, but was reported. A reporter said he is permanently disfigured and had lost significant amount of blood. The man's life is almost over, and now he's going to live his life with his body severely mutated from some whack job. This woman, who's not too Swift, because her last name is Swift. When questioned, Swift's only statement to police was, "Yes, I bit his fingers off." Well, it makes it valid. Hey, great, you admitted to it. All said and done. Come on, let's just clap our hands together and say it's water under the dam. We can't do anything now. Swift was arrested and facing charges of aggravated battery on a person age 65 or older. She's being held at the some county jail in Florida on $500,000 bond. From the looks of the booking photo, it looks like someone managed to land a couple of punches to her face, which obviously were not enough. Yeah, you know what? If you're a man, you really need to be chivalrous. If some woman is going to bite off parts of your body with their teeth for no reason at all, from an unaggravated assault attack from a woman, you should stand there like a man and let her do it, because otherwise you are that evil white Caucasian male that you hear about all the time. That evil male who is victimizing these poor women and terrorizing all these minorities. You evil white Caucasian men, you should stop this stuff. And if they want to hatchet you or slaughter you or tear off your arm, you got to let them do that, because that is their right to do that to you. And you can't do anything back because you're evil and you deserve it. So I'm trying to be empathetic. Sorry about that. I have nothing to drink either. My last story is an uplifting one, and it's one on entertainment. So this is perfect because I can end it with something a little bit uplifting. Comicbookmovie.com. Yes. New Batman vs. Superman trailer shows Wonder Woman on a visible jet. Because she has an invisible jet. That's why they said that. Warner Brothers has released a new trailer, yet another one, for Batman vs. Superman on Dawn of Justice, with basically not Wonder Woman, but it's actually Diana Rigg. Is that her name? The trailer features a new footage of Wonder Woman, Gail Gadot, of the Turkish Airlines jet, said to be features in a pivotal scene, and our first look at Joe Hill. It says, fear in the actions of godlike superheroes left unchecked. Gotham City's own formidable, forceful vigilant takes on Metropolis' most revealed modern-day savior, while the world wrestles with what sort of hero is really, what sort of hero it really needs. So, between the fight between Superman and Batman, they're giving a little bit more of a teaser for Wonder Woman. Anyway, with Batman and Superman at war with one another, the new threat quickly arises, putting mankind into a greater danger than it's ever known before. And it basically just says, check out when Batman versus Superman on this story on Batman versus Dawn of Justice and other movies are coming out on comicbookmovie.com, but they gave a new teaser. It looks to me that what I've gathered, my speculation is that Lex Luthor is, fighting or setting up the war against to turn Batman and Superman against each other. He also creates Doomsday, but the one who is the one standing between these two men fighting Batman and Superman will be Wonder Woman, who kind of says, "Listen, guys, we can't work against each other. We got to work together now." That's what I'm guessing, and they're kind of going a little bit more into that with that new leaked, not leaked, but that new what do you call it? Teaser put out. Now it's only like a month away, I think, until that movie comes out. I got to take my glasses off at this point. Sorry about that. I really got to stop my show soon, too. Yeah, the movie is coming out in March. It's going to be February soon, so it's like a little over a month away. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed what I did. I got to end this show. Let's see what time it is. Oh, wow. I did like a 3-hour show, I think. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm signing off for now. Thanks for listening. If you do, if you're not, get other people to listen in. And please tune in again. So, iWalter signing off.